disclaimer. This relates to if you're trying to texture your model that does not have a pre-set up Substance Painter file and you have to make your own. Because when I first started texturing
the model that I was working with,
it did not have a Substance Painter file that came with it.
And you may be in a similar situation as me.
Usually, it's recommended to be working with a Substance Painter file that looks like this. Wow, look at all the wide crevices you can just slip right into. Look at how each brushstroke and change it makes happens identically to the gutted separated model and the example model. Look at how beautifully baked the maps are, rather than tight, icky crevices that are a pain to get into, no separated pieces to paint on individually, gross, evil baked maps that will make our lives hell when working with later. Now, when I first started texturing 3D models, I had zero experience with using 3D. I barely even knew how to use Blender. I didn't even know that there were like clean ways to set up a Substance Painter file. I just thought you were supposed to throw in your 3D model and get cracking. And I know that there are some people out there who are in a similar situation that I was in. You either don't want to screw with Blender or you're just too impatient like me and don't want to have to mess around setting up, doing all this freaking pre-setting up doo-doo for it. You just want to get texturing. All right, now I'm going to ask you, do you want to go down the bright professionally recommended path where you watch these amazing tutorials that tell you how to set up a Substance Painter file that's easy to work with? Or do you want to stick with me and we go down the dark, evil, grimy path and I teach you how to survive with your bare hands? All right, that's what I thought. I knew you weren't a pussy. Okay, that's a joke. People who actually do the smart option, I don't blame you.
Also, if you have any questions that weren't answered by this tutorial, feel free to join the Discord all about texturing apps, Substance Painter. We can try our best to help you out.
Okay, so hello, welcome to the tutorial part of the video. Okay, so yeah, since you don't have a pre-made Substance Painter file, basically we gotta make our Substance Painter file. All right, so we're just gonna open up Substance Painter, and then once this is open, you're gonna drag your 3D model in it, drag and drop, and then boom, this window will pop up.
No, it doesn't. Now it looks like this in the latest version, but it's okay because it's basically the same thing. You can set this to whatever resolution, then press create. It's honestly a lot better and more simpler instead of overwhelming you with, okay, never mind, just yeah, go ahead.
My windows may look a little bit different than yours. All right, so see how it's like split down the middle? We're gonna press F2 on our keyboard. That's gonna bring us to where we only see the 3D model. Yeah, so yeah, this is the 3D model that we have to work with. Everything all attached together. We can, if you go in your texture set list, if you look up here, you have like your different pieces you can hide by pressing the eyeball. And so I'm gonna click, hold, and drag down, and then that'll disable all of it. It's very satisfying to do. I definitely recommend you try it to where now all I have is the body visible. And yeah, let me teach you how to work with this. First big thing that you're gonna want to do before you start texturing every time is you gotta bake. If you're just now importing your 3D model, you're not gonna have any texture maps. See how these right here, they're empty. Oh, that means you don't got it. You see how if you go to texture set settings, scroll down here, there's nothing. There is nothing. And now stay with me. If we were to drag and drop a smart material, oh god, why did I pick the worst one? All right, we're not using that. Okay, I drag and dropped. Did it even do anything? No, it didn't do anything. Because you want to know why? Because you don't see how right here it says image inputs. This is where it would be. These like filters right here. These are filters. They use the texture stuff. They use those. And since we don't have any, it's not going to do anything. So, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to bake. And so you're going to go up here. You're going to click the croissant icon. Haha. Get it? Because we're baking. And that's a pastry. And so it's going to bring up this window. You're going to see all this stuff. I'm going to do an example. So it's like, oh, la-di-da-di-da. Haha. I'm going to change my texture set. I'm going to change the output size to 4K because I like big, pretty numbers. And I'm going to bake it. Oh my god, look. I'm doing it. I'm baking. Whoa. So yeah, that's what I sounded like whenever I first started texturing. Alright, so it's like, oh my god, look. I textured it. And, okay, I know this looks still really bad, but now it's working. What? Oh my god, I got it to work. I'm such a professional texture artist. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna hide these again to where only the body shows because I don't want these in the way. So I'm just going to press this eyeball with the 1. And that's going to have it to where we see only the thing that we have selected. And so it's like, wow, okay, that works. But, you know, I'm going to hide this. And so now I'm looking at my model, and actually, you know, matter of fact, I'm going to just delete everything. It's like, okay, my model looks like a nuke went off, and after the flash inburn burned into the skin, my model looks sunburned. Okay, let's check these maps things by pressing B on our keyboard. Press B. Oh, okay. Now we show ID. Now we see the ID map. The ID map, you don't gotta really worry about that for the most part. So now we're looking at the ambient occlusion map right now, and yeah, no, my model looks really sunburnt. Like these models, even though that I'm hiding them, they're still leaving a mark when they're not there. So let me give an example of what it would be like trying to texture with some horribly baked maps like these, because you know, you may not really get it, like, oh, it's like, okay, well, I mean, I know it does look kind of ugly, but I don't care. It's like, how bad could it be? Well, all right, just watch. Okay, well, first things first, let me make it to where the base model doesn't even look sunburnt. Like, we haven't even put any colors on it. Like, we're looking at the base color right now. We don't have anything. But if we have it in the material preview, where it has like all like the lighting and stuff, there's like imprints on it. I don't want that, because look, if I were to start like painting here, I'm gonna make it a super ugly red color, and it's like, oh, I want to start painting with blue. Let me make it the color blue, and then I'm gonna add a paint thing, and I start painting. It's like, oh, wait a minute, the shadows are still staying there, and that is super flippin' ugly to look at. Well, boy, let me tell you how to turn that off. You open up the shader settings tab, and you just shader parameters, ambient occlusion intensity, put it all the way down. Boom, it's gone. You don't got to worry about it anymore. It's like, oh my gosh, yay, it's just my red and blue I'd hoped for. All right, boom. But don't get too excited. Because guess what? The demons are still hiding within. They're still there. See? Hold on. Oh my God, it's still here. Okay, but oh, here. Close your eyes. It's okay. We're back in material. So just for example purposes, here, I'm gonna go into base color, and it's like, oh wow, this is literally just one color. This looks really, really, really flat. I want to add some shadows, but oh God, no. I don't want to paint those by hand by going in each crevice and freaking painting. Okay, imagine I'm painting shadows right now. It's like, oh God, no one wants to spend all that time painting in shadows by hand. Okay, maybe they do, and you know, sometimes it can look pretty good, you know, it just takes a lot of time, but you know, sometimes you're in a rush. So for this example, let's add some automatic shadows. All right, so I'm gonna create a fill layer. Now everything is the default fill layer color, because I just filled everything with gray. I just filled it all with gray. You may see more than me. You'll probably see like all these settings. Here, since we're just messing with color right now, let me give you a fun little tip. You may not get it, but just know that it exists, okay? Because later in the future when you're texturing, you'll be glad to know it. If you just alt-click color, boom. Now color is the only channel you have active on this fill layer. I mean, you know, all we're messing with is this color, okay? But so yeah, all right, let's change this to a shadow color. Okay, yeah, it's looking pretty dark now. And now we're gonna add we're gonna mask the fill layer. We're gonna add a black mask. Now it's all gone. And now we're going to add a generator. Okay, stick with me. And then to that generator, we're gonna add our ambient occlusion. And it's like, oh, what the heck? I mean, you know, I kind of have some shadows where I'd like it to, you know, got some shadows in the ears. I got some shadows in my finger now, you know, that adds a lot of definition. Now it's not flat. But it's like, ew, why is this all here? I don't want that. All right, well, this is what we're going to do to fix it. Boom. Now, if I go back into base color and I reveal what it will look like now, boom. No more stupid sunburn tan. It's just, we got shadows in the neck. And, looks like we have a question.
What the fuck? You just skipped over the tutorial part.
Oh shoot. Wait, yeah, sorry, here. This time I won't fast forward it. And it's like, okay, well, how the frickin' mother flip do I make it to where they're not like affecting this model? Because you know, when you're using your VRChat model, you're not gonna always have those clothes toggled. You don't want these texture marks there. So what we're gonna do is, okay, well, it kind of does this for multiple maps. It's not just ambient occlusion. Like we're also looking at curvature. the model's also created some artifacts, you know, because they're like intersecting with the model at some points, messing with the curvature. And then same thing goes for thickness. Yeah, it's like this is where it's intersecting, you know. We do not want that. That is not good at all. Here's what we need to rebake. We're going to need to rebake ambient occlusion, thickness, and curvature. So you can just disable normal map, world space normal, ID, and position. We don't got to worry about those. So what we're going to do is we're going to have ambient occlusion selected, and we're going to change self-occlusion to only the same mesh name. Curvature, self-occlusion, only same mesh name. Thickness, self-occlusion, only same mesh name. And we're going to rebake. All right, boom, let's rebake. And since we don't have these other texture set lists selected, we're not gonna bake those. It'll just make it a little bit quicker for us. And then so it's like, oh my gosh, whoa, is that our thickness map? I didn't see any artifacts in it. Whoa, I think I did something right. All right, so now if we take a look at our ambient occlusion map, we don't have those imprints that we once did. Wow, oh my gosh, it's how it should be. Now, of course, this ambient occlusion map is still not perfect, but it's as good as we're gonna get it with just this base model. Okay, guys? Like, you know, we still have this burned into it. We still have these shadows and stuff. So really quick, I wanted to give an example of a good sort of baked map compared to a bad baked map, because it's like, okay, I'm talking about, ew, this is gross, but it's like, okay, well then what is this supposed to look like? Well, it's like, boom, here we go, we got a side by side. So what's the first thing you notice? Aside from the expanded edges on this texture, I don't know why I did that. But I mean, yeah, just looking at it, I mean, there's these huge imprints when, if it was baked properly, you know, it should just be completely white. You know, like the forehead, this big dome-ass forehead doesn't have this burned in mark. Same thing with these two pieces of hair right here, which is these two pieces of hair right here on this texture, which is what we're two pieces of hair right here, looking at right here. They, you know, it's got like these marks burned into it and stuff. It's ambient occlusion where there shouldn't be ambient occlusion. Even these details right here, these sort of expressions, if we look right here on the other one, they just don't even show up because they're just completely black, because with the way that the model is set up, if the pieces aren't separated, by default, you know, the expressions are hidden inside the head, inside the face. So if you're baking with this model with them inside the face, they're going to end up being completely pitch black. They're going to, yep, see, completely black, completely pitch black, completely pitch black, completely pitch black. No good. No fun when working with that later, if we're going to be using generators and stuff. Same thing goes for all the other textures as well, like curvature. That's also going to look weird. See, same things. You don't want all these intersections. Thickness as well. See, you're getting weird artifacts on thickness. All around, not fun, not fun. All around, it could be better, but we're working with what we got, guys. We're texturing, all right? We're making it work. So, all right, you know, now that you got a decently-ish baked texture, you know, ignoring all that, ignoring all this, you know, hey, look, we can make it work. For this example, I have a oldish kind of texture that I did, and you know, yeah, it's like pretty finished, but just by looking in the base color, it looks pretty flat. And you know, let's say I want to make the stylistic decision I want to add some shadows drawn in and stuff, but you know, I don't really want to spend all that time drawing them all in by hand, because I'm impatient and I suck at drawing. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make a fill layer. I'm just going to set this to multiply, and then I'm going to add a generator, ambient occlusion, and I'm going to invert it. So, like, okay, see, we're already kind of seeing some shadows, like boom, 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 boom. That adds a lot more depth. Like, you know, I don't really want it in the eyes. Like, you know, if we look at the ambient occlusion mask, it's like we're seeing a lot of shadows in the eyes and the eyebrows. I mean, the eyelashes, whatever the frick this part of the body is, are just completely like darkened out, just completely masked with the ambient occlusion thing. So I don't really want that, because I don't want my eyes to look dark. I want them to be bright and pretty and beautiful and cute. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a paint layer, and I'm gonna set it to subtract, and I'm just gonna press 4 on my keyboard, and that'll bring the polygon select tool, and I'll like start deleting these, but that'll take a while. So if you go over here and you press UV chunk fill, Boom. That's how you can. I just immediately masked out the eyes. I'm gonna do the eye lashes, pupils, main thing, blah 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 blah. And now if I go back out of it, you can see that. See, now it's not getting affected by that dark. The eyes aren't changing. But you see, if I hide this paint thing, see, they darken. See, but I want them bright. So yeah, that's why I set it to subtract, and I just painted it with white. Basically, when you set it like a paint layer to subtract, and you're painting like on a mask with it, anything that you paint with white on the paint layer. See how, like right now, I'm painting with white. See, but it's like I'm painting with black. How does, like, what does that even mean? Well, it's like, no, like I am painting with white. I am. But what subtract does is it makes everything that's like on this layer, on this paint layer, it will just, yeah, it just removes it. So that's what that is, just to make sure we're all on the same page. But so it's like, okay, boom. Now I got the eyes masked out. Now they're not dark. But, I don't know, guys. Let's take a look at this. Ooh, do you see that? You see that? It's like it's underwater, like the just that huge difference in shadow. Normally when you're looking at it right now, it's like, bro, you don't even notice it. Like, who's gonna be sticking their eyes into your freaking head unless they're making out with you in VR, which I know some of you definitely do that. But so yeah, like if you're just looking at it from the outside, you're not gonna notice it. Well, I don't know about it. See, this is not a static object, okay? I mean, it's well known that, hey, when you're gonna be using this avatar, it's gonna be moving around. The ears, they're gonna be flopping, okay? So then you'll like, here, let me try and like, I'm gonna show up what it's gonna look like in Unity. Alright, so here we are in Unity, and so basically this is the texture without the baked shadows in, and now I am about to apply the shadows with, okay, the texture with the shadows, boom, it is now here, and it's like, okay, yeah, so it looks good. But, you know, let's get flipping and flopping. Let's say someone just comes up to you and they just start absolutely stretching, they start stretching your shit, like, oh son, oh heck no son. Okay, let's ignore the fact that the ear's coming undone. But look, see, once it starts moving, see, you can see the baked in shadows. It don't look good. Same thing over here. See, it's like you see the part that is like sinks into the head. No good. See how it's like baked in right here, or even in these eyebrow lashes or whatever. Like if I were to change facial expressions, yeah, look, you can still see it. That like, yeah, you still see it there. Yeah, because everything is moving and morphing and meshing around. The stuff on the texture is still going to stay there. And let's say if I wanted to remove this hair, if I wanted to make it invisible, it's like, okay, that's the F hair bone. I'll just set that to 0 to hide it. Boom. It's like you still see it burned into the foreheads. So it's like, okay, well, how the frick do I avoid that? I mean, we already fixed the bake maps to like the best that we can. How do we work around that? Well, this is where you got to put some elbow grease into it, okay? This can definitely work. Like, see these imprints and stuff made by our shadow layer. Let me name it shadow. Yeah, so what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to very gently, I'm gonna go in with the basic soft brush. I'm gonna turn the flow down so that makes it to where you know, it's a little bit chill. So yeah, you kind of just gotta lock in and like remove it yourself. Okay, that's pretty noticeable, but hey, we can come back in with a blur. Yeah, there we go. Let's blur it. We'll blur it a little bit. Yeah. Oh god. Okay, it's revealing some of it. Hold on. Now we're gonna need to go back in with our basic soft and yeah, make sure you have your brush selected by pressing 1. And then you just boom, like it was never there. See, let's see how this looks. See, yeah, I mean, you can't really notice it that much. I'm gonna do the same thing for the hair. So yeah, I kind of just went in, removed a lot of it, and now let's see what it looks like in game. So now, if we go into play mode to test out the wiggles, you know, hey, let's change the facial expression on it. Boom. Now you don't got the freaking leftover marks. Now it's not there. And let's say we want to hide the hair. We don't want this. We don't want a certain area of the body. F hair. Boom. No, now we don't have an imprint. Yay! I mean, it's pretty straightforward. But wait a minute. Uh-oh. It's still there on the ears. Oh, no. Alright, here's what you're gonna have to do. Or here's what I do. Here's what I do to kind of make it less noticeable. So, I'll just flip in Can anyone guess what I'm about to do? I'm gonna blur it. Oh, give it a second. Yep, there we go. I blurred it. Okay, and you know, this is still pretty defined though. So our goal is to turn up the blur as much as possible before it starts frickin'. Yeah, doing that. I'm not really sure how much more lenient. Yeah, no. We can't really go much further than 0.5 TBH. But so basically we're gonna go back in base color. We're just gonna turn down the opacity until it's just not very noticeable. Yeah, like see, look, like, hey, I know the shadows are very light, but it's at least some. But then so what I do after that is I'll add in like a world space normal. And that's a world space normal is a lot easier to work with. If we take a look at it here, let's set this to, if we take a look at the mask. Oh god, okay, that looks like a creepypasta. So let's move this to the top. Actually, move it below the blur because we want it a little blurred too. And we're gonna set this to linear dodge add. And let's turn down the opacity on it because that's super, super strong. And let's invert it because we're making the shadows right now. Remember that. Yeah. And then so this we don't even really need to do anything with it. If we just take a look at the world space normal generator on its own, no other separate pieces of the 3D model affect each other. So that is very convenient on our behalf. But so yeah, that's just a way to add a little bit of extra sauce to it with a minimal flipping effort. I mean, hey, let's take a look at it. It's like boom, boom, boom. I know it's very light, but guys, we haven't even added the lighting yet. It's not gonna be anything crazy, but it's better than nothing. All right, I'm gonna create just a fill layer, add a mask to it. Let me set this to linear dodge add, and I'm gonna add a generator. This generator is going to be, of course, the world space normal generator. And then I'm going to make this a very light color. Just yeah, okay. Let's put it at that, and then we'll just lower the opacity too. It's to kind of meet it in the middle. And you know, we'll take a look at the mask. Yeah, I mean, hey, it's kind of what we expected. But so let's remove it in areas that we don't want it. Like we don't want it shining on the eyes because that just makes the eyes. We don't need the eyes to be that bright. So now it says to subtract. So I'm gonna paint with some white. Fill that in. 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 Boom. Where else would we not like it? The mouth. We would not like the mouth. So in order to work on the mouth, yeah, you kind of just you're gonna have to get up in there. But so yeah, boom, boom, boom. Boom. There we go. Because light isn't really going to be shining in the mouth, you know. Guys, like, let's use our common sense. But so, yeah, I mean, let me put this in a folder and we can see kind of the before and after. See? Boom. Kind of flattish. Boom. Now we got a little bit more depth. We got a little bit more depth to it. It's a teeny bit washed out. And, but yeah, that's kind of how I just generally work with baked maps. Even though they're a little bit of a pain to work with, you can make it work with, you know, just erasing areas that you don't want it in. But yeah, so basically that is how you that's really for the most part how I make it work. Yeah.
For the people who made it to the end of the tutorial, as a reward, specifically for the people who are using the Regulus, aka the model I've been using the texture with this whole tutorial, I actually made a setup substance painter file for it that you can go download for free. And as a reward for the people who don't care about the Regulus, you get to watch my sick outro.
Easy go.